kicking away, and the next minute I skidded and I went down on the ground. And his foot into me again. At that moment, I heard this growl come from our blokes. And I looked up and they're coming down the embankment, and I held up my hand and I said, for Christ's sake, stop it, the loudest I could with my voice. Which they did do, thank God. And they went back, and the Jap, he turned colour, he just went white in the face. And he wanted to give me a cigarette. Well, I didn't damn well smoke with him. I took one anyway, but gave it to one of the blokes later. But when we got back to camp, I went straight down to see Bill Drower and explained what had happened. He said, right, well, just while you came, he said, I'll see the Japs and explain. And because they couldn't tell me what to do work, as Bill said, he said, right, he's trying to make you work, you can't work, all you do is pass on the thing. So he did, and he said, and got away with it. But I wasn't feeling too good. I thought, God, I'm heading for Tambasite over this.
Yes, yeah.
I thought it was bad news.
I want to ask you, earlier you mentioned Naito. Were you in his camp in
Naito roamed around, no. He was in Tambasite.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to ask you about the doctors. You did say you were in 75 kilo camp.
Yeah.
Was Albert Coates in that camp with you?
Yeah. He saw me. I went to see him and told him about this. And it turned out a big tapeworm that I had. I was in the past that had just gone into the bushes to get rid of and using the leaf to clean myself, and I thought it was a pile or something, and I thought, well, can't get rid of it, and I put my hand, I pressed it, didn't hurt, and I pulled, and the damn thing, I got him pulling out my intestines, I don't know. I kept on pulling, and it came out about 18 inches long, 2 foot long.
Incredible.
About big as my finger, little finger.
Yes, yeah.
I was this blasted worm, and I took it and showed it to him, and he said, oh my God. He said, well, most of them cough them up into the mouth. But he said that they really choke with it.
Yes.
So you're lucky it went that way and not the other.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to ask you about the other doctors, just in order. We'll try. Well, you've told us about Alan Hobbs. Did you have any other close association with him? No,
the only time I had to see Alan was only when I got crook. Well, that was virtually the time that he put all of us into the separate hut so that we couldn't pass on the dysentery to anybody else.
Yes. What about Sid Crans?
No, I didn't. Look, I tried to keep away from doctors.
Yeah.
Well, I got to know Alan.
Yes.
And I've seen him since.
Yes.
We've come back, and same with Bertie Coates. I mean, when we came back home, apart from seeing him in the copper Tom, he pulled my appendix out when I arrived back home.
Yes, yeah.
And
Claude Anderson, did you have?
Claude Anderson, I met him, and
yes,
but not as helping me get better.
Rolly Richards.
Rolly, knew them all.
Yeah,
Roll.
What about the fellow Don Cumming? Does that name ring a bell?
That doesn't ring a bell, but
no.
White does.
Yeah. What about Ted Fisher? No. And Colonel Hamilton? Were you aware of him?
No, aware of Colonel Hamilton,
yes.
But I didn't know any.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let's move forward now to when the line was finished.
Yep.
Do you remember? When you went with the line laying teams, were you?
Kanburi. The officers have been put in Kanburi for the last 6 months, and different. I put my first. I volunteered to say for the heavy work.
Now, can I just take you back?
I knew better than the devil I didn't know.
Yeah, I wanted to actually know if you remembered your trip from Burma into Thailand.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, well, from Burma for 105, I'd had dysentery and malaria, and I'd lost a lot of weight, and I was one of the first ones to be shipped out in the first train that went down to Tamarkan in November.
Yes.
Was down before Christmas and before my birthday on the 17th of January.
Yes.
Well, truly. And we pulled up at the camp just over the Three Pagoda, sort of Three Pagoda as we went past.
Oh, yes.
And pulled up at the camp just past there, and it so happened that one of the blokes, there was Australians there, and I came up with, oh, so-and-so, and unfortunately his brother and he had died about a week prior to coming down. I remember now, I can't remember their name, but
yes, yeah.
it did happen that it hung me down if he came up and we'd been buried.
How many days, do you recall how many days?
It wasn't that long, didn't take when we pulled up there. I think we got down in the day.
Yes.
Straight through, apart from that.
Do you remember passing over any of the big bridges?
Oh, any of the ones we went there, we went very slowly.
Yes.
Very slowly. Over every bridge was half walking pace.
Yes. Mm. And when you're in Tamakan, were you there when it was bombed at any time?
Oh yes, definitely. They'd been over and bombed, and they actually hit the hospital hut, and there was, I don't know, 30 or 40 blokes were knocked off.
Yes.
Killed, and I know I couldn't get to a slit trench, so I just stayed straight on the at a floor of the hut, and I'm there, and I've got my head down like so, and so I thought, God, what's the hell's that? And I put my hand up like that, and it was a hunk of metal about so and as hot as hell. Part of the bomb.
Yes.
That had come up and down through the roof of the thing and just lobbed on me. In other words, it wasn't any strength. It had come through the roof.
Yes.
But it was hot.
Yes.
And that was the closest I got to that particular one. But at Kanburi, we got bombed there, and I was in the cookhouse. I had to volunteer. I was amongst the officers, and that's it. For all the officers, it was a case of work or die as far as cooking goes. And the bomb hit the moat, and we had a wood stack, and there's a bit of a gut around the actual hut that we're at the cookhouse. Yeah. And I dived into this thing, and next to the wood heap, and the bomb hit about 20 yards away, and it went down deep into the bund, down to the hollow, and chucked up a lot of mud. There was one Dutchman was killed, a great hunk of mud and with brick land on his neck. Broke his neck. Yes. That was the only casualty we had. But then it came back and they started machine gunning us. Yes. So it was a case of duck and hope for the best.
That was the Allied aircraft, not the Japs.
Yeah, Allied aircraft. Yeah. That was at Kanburi.
Yeah.
And at Tamakan, when they'd been round, I'd actually stood up and they'd came back, and I could see them machine gunning. See the bloke, they had the door open.
Yes.
The machine, I could actually just look up. It was only like being up about 20 yards up in the air. They were down low.
Yes. Now, when you during the period you must have been at Kanchanaburi or Kanburi for quite a long time. Is that right?
Kanburi, about 6 months. So we were separated about 6 months from the men.
Yes.
And the time that happened was when the tide of Germany stopped, and then the tide of the war started to come towards us, and as it turns out, and in reading, and it's been proven that the Japs were going to kill us 1 week from the time later than the bomb hit. 1 week we would have gone. If they hadn't had the atomic bomb, we were gone. It's because apparently there was one of them was going to land on the top of Sumatra. Did you hear that one?
No.
But somebody was going to land up at somewhere or other, and as soon as that landing, all POWs would be killed.
Yes, yeah.
And that's why the different ones were going up the same as in Borneo.
Yes.
They only went there because they expected landings from the Allies.
Mm.
So we were very lucky.
When
Best thing that ever happened was the atomic bomb.
Yes. When you're in Kanchanaburi, do you remember the paper mill nearby?
No.
No.
No. There's a bit of a landing field there. I know that. There's
Yes.
a plane landed there.
Yeah, well that was fairly significant landing field, that one.
Yeah.
What about, did you have any concerts when you were in that,
Oh, yeah.
in that area?
Oh, at Kanburi.
Yeah, do you remember any of the...
They were pretty good concerts.
Didn't Major Jacobs
organise
some of them?
was organising it,
Mm.
yeah. And they used to play volleyball and so on like that. It was the only work that was taken was anybody going out getting material for the fires.
Yes.
We weren't building any railway or anything like that.
A couple of quick questions now. When you were in Burma, were you aware of there being a hospital camp in Burma for F Force, the people who'd been in Thailand?
We knew that things were bad there because there was a truckload went through 105 going down to the 55 or somewhere on that side, meaning that they didn't have any hospital there at that particular point. They're sending them right through.
Yes, yeah.
That's all I know.
And when you were back in Kanburi, do you remember a hospital camp for F&H sick being there at all?
No hospital camp.
No.
Not as far as the office is concerned, no.
Where were you when the war ended then?
Kanburi.
Still in Kanburi.
I put in for the last, and that's where I went down and got the trucks and went down to try and pick up the trucks. That was that.
Yeah. So you had been up at Non-Combatant, and then
I went down on a combatant after that.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, we had a bloke come in that had been dropped out. There was a sergeant and a couple of other allied. They were dropped in a few miles into the bush. And as he said, if they would have, if they heard that we were going to get shot, they'd have bought in. I said, well, I hope you'd been on time. But
did you know
anyway, they organised to going down to the combatant.
Yes. Yeah. And from there...
They got in touch by radio or whatever they did down there, and they said they wanted this Major O'Brien, Ken Lee and myself.
Yeah.
And well, 3 or 4 others went down to the combatant.
Now it was
we went down there, and we were down there from the about the 19th, I suppose, till the 31st.
Yes.
They put me in charge of this truck, and about I picked out 10 blokes and armed them, and we looked after the blokes that got out and were in trouble in the town. And then I nearly got killed myself there with a bloke that was legitimate Thai had a go at me.
Yes.
So I opened up the door and he was playing up. But and that's where the Koreans were. We were told what all these Koreans were, and I went down and shoved them out of the place and let them face the sun, and we went through their clothes, and there was about 20,000 tickles that I collected and brought back and gave to the Thai people.
Yes.
Made the Nips carry all their stuff. Anything they didn't carry, we confiscated and gave to the Thais. Let them face the sun with nothing on, the same as they did to us. One of the blokes let one go in there. They pulled them back and went boom like that, and they thought he'd been done, but they made them sweat a bit.
Now, how did you get home to Australia from Thailand or Bangkok?
I went by plane from Bangkok, and that's when they got Kenneth George Lee and Kenneth George Dumbrell and Kenneth George Briggs all in the one plane. Yeah. And down to Singapore, and then on to Circassia after a couple of weeks. And got back home in time for the Melbourne Cup.
Oh, yes. And you're discharged in December of 45.
That's it.
Well, Ken, I very much appreciate the opportunity of talking with you about this.
Pleasure.
Uh,
Wish to God my memory was better than it was. But
well, that's what lots of people say, but I think your recall has been incredible. And is there anything that you wanted to finish off with? What about your enduring friendship with people that survived?
Well, that's it.
That's
one thing. Only one reason a man ever got back, he had to have mates.
Yes.
And everybody knows that. But in our unit, we still have meetings 3 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got about 10,000 quid in kitty, and we look after ourselves. And for the Anti Tank is a damn good bunch of blokes.
Yes.
The ones that was left, plus our sons and daughters and wives that they're looking after and join in the meetings.
Yes. Well, I think we might wrap it there.
Right,
and once
good.
again, I can only say...
You're doing a hell of a good job.
Well, I'm
doing...
doing...
And enjoy a beer or whatever over at Hellfire when you get there next time.
I'll undertake to do that.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Ken.